This is the Rogue version 2 sling bag from Wandrd, and I have a real love and hate relationship with it. So I've actually made a video like 3 times by now about this and never published it because I wasn't satisfied with my findings. And I feel like now that I've had it for like half a year, I can finally give you my honest opinion about it and tell you why I love and why I simultaneously hate this bag. So I actually had the previous iteration, the original Rogue sling bag, and as you can see, there is a theme. I basically bought this because it's orange and it looked really, really good in the product shots. So the product photography from Wandrd is actually really, really good. And these are very similar bags, but also at the same time quite different. And there's some changes that I really appreciate on this new version of the bag, and there's some that I kind of hate. So we're going to go over all of that, and I'm going to give you my opinions and give you an overview of this bag in general. So to start with, the Rogue sling bag from Wandrd is a pretty compact sling bag intended, of course, for camera gear. And it has this one main compartment in here that comes with 2 dividers, and they had like some black straps across the top too, which are probably intended to prevent stuff from falling out, but to be honest, I've never used them. So they're kind of sitting in there idle. And then has a little pocket on the top here too. And then it has this really interesting, really weird way to store a laptop as well. So you just open that compartment on the back here. And obviously that's not deep enough for a laptop to go in and sit securely, but it actually expands downwards. So you have that little flap that comes out from the bag. And you just stick a laptop sleeve, or if you're adventurous, you can just stick your laptop in there without any protection. And you have this little strap that comes out, wraps over the top of it, and hooks in at the front here. And it is adjustable, so it does fit quite a wide variety, I think, of laptops. This is a M3 MacBook Air in here that obviously fits without any trouble, but I think they were saying that it should fit up to a 16-inch MacBook. Might be a little tight, but for the Air, it's quite sufficient. And I do actually use that functionality quite a bit. And the mechanism for this has basically not changed compared from the old version of the Rogue sling bag to the new. The only thing that has changed is that the material on the old one was really thin, probably like polyester or nylon type material. And on the new one, it does feel thicker and a lot more durable. And it's also black. So yeah, this is probably a durability upgrade. I never had any issues with mine on the old version, but it does feel good for peace of mind. And in general, this bag is, I think, laid out more for compactness rather than having a bunch of space for different gear and cramming multiple cameras in there and stuff like that. And the flap on top actually does not fold completely open. So it always wants to close back down. As a result of that, it's actually kind of hard to get stuff out of there. So the flap will always be in the way of you trying to get your gear out. It will always kind of catch on that overhang, which on the other hand makes it less likely that you're going to drop stuff from out of it. Even if it's unzipped halfway or whatever, stuff is not going to fall out. So that's a little bit of a give and take on the old one, which, as you can see, is a little more compact. So the top to bottom is a little slimmer here, and I think the front to back is a little deeper as well on the V2. On the old one, I frequently felt like I was struggling to get my gear out. I do feel that has improved a little bit on the new version. So on this one, it's quite easy to get your gear out, and it actually houses a fair amount of stuff. So even if you have like a bulkier lens like this 70-200, as soon as you get rid of one or two of these dividers, the camera will fit in there even with a bigger lens attached. This is not even taking up the entirety of the length, so you can see you still have a fair amount of space for your camera and probably some extra gear if you have a big lens like this too. Even for film photographers, if you have like a Fuji 6x9 GW, this still fits in there pretty comfortably. And that's actually surprising to me for a bag of this size. So that comes out quite easily. So it's actually deceptively large in terms of the equipment that it can hold. One big change that they made from the V1 to the V2 is the inside of the main flap. So as you can see, this has this zipper running out around the entire perimeter of the inside flap, and it flips open like this and has that compartment that opens up with a padded flap on the bottom and some dividers in the top, and it's pretty roomy, and it gives you that kind of wedge-shaped compartment without anything to obviously hold your stuff inside of the compartment. So this exit from the flap is flat and will not prevent anything from falling out. And that comes as a change from the old version that just had this zipper compartment here. No dividers, just a simple zip pocket up there for like your keys or whatever. And it holds, I think, a fair amount less gear than the new one does, and doesn't have any way to organize them. So that's a good thing, but it does add the material of that padded flap that the V2 has. So the material of the top flap ends up being quite a bit thicker. So that takes up a lot of space. This is an issue that I often lament a little bit. For example, also in my main timber bag, it has these pockets in the front, and these have dividers in them too. So this is one layer of fabric, another layer of fabric, and this is the main part. And then this just adds up to being so much material that it gets bulkier and heavier. And at some point, I think a compromise must be made. So I do appreciate that this flap on the V2 has more space in it. I do not appreciate that it takes up more space inside the bag, if that makes sense. Another change that they made from the V1 is this front pocket is no longer there. So you can see this has had this front pocket that just zips open, and then you can slide things in here. And I always found this quite handy because I usually carry this portable Wi-Fi router with me. It just fits perfectly in here. And then I would have my keys in the side compartment here. And that would just give me these two super important items for me in a really accessible way. And I didn't have to scramble through my inside pockets to get my keys out. So I kind of hate that they got rid of this pocket. And I think the reason why they probably got rid of this pocket is one, that they had more space in that top flap. And then they also extended these straps that has the top handle, and that strap that extends all the way down here towards the tripod flaps. And these unhook, so you can easily fit in a bulkier tripod or something similar in that bottom compartment here. And this bottom compartment has also changed quite a bit. I think the material is quite a bit sturdier. And these hooks are, of course, nice to have too. They do not have any give to them, so there's nothing elastic here, which is probably on purpose because they are meant to hold a tripod or something heavy. But on the previous generation Rogue Sling, you had this compartment on the bottom that just velcros shut, and then you had this thinner material. Again, this is the same as with what we saw with the laptop compartment. You have this thinner material here with these elastic straps on the back with a little hook that hooks into a little hook on the top. And that hook was a little bit notorious for coming loose, which is probably why they eliminated it. But it did make that pocket more versatile in the way that I often use this for a water bottle, and having these elastics was perfect because it would just loop around the top end of the water bottle and secure it pretty well. Whereas with the new one, you just have that sleeve on the bottom, and that just goes all the way through and doesn't have anything to stop it. And there's no elastics again here. There's a little, I guess there's a little bit of elasticity in these end portions, but it doesn't close down nearly enough to hold anything like a water bottle in there. So because I'm not a tripod person, except here in my room when I have my recording camera on there, I don't use this at all on the V2. So yeah, kind of a downgrade in that respect for me. But there's certainly going to be people that appreciate it because it's more sturdy and it has those pretty heavy duty looking hooks and probably fits a larger tripod better than the old one did. In general, the overall shape of this is a little bulkier and a little more squared off, I feel. So the height difference is quite noticeable. Let's see if I can get a good angle on this from that camera. So the height difference is quite noticeable on these. So the new version is definitely larger. And as a result, I do feel like I have less trouble getting my stuff out of the new one than I had comparatively in the old version. And in general, I think a lot of the upgrades that they made on this are meant to address durability. So I think these straps feel a lot more durable. This material that is in the expandable storage compartments feels a lot more durable. The strap in general, I think they've reworked this. It has better padding. Also feels a little more premium in the materials, and it's also updated to be orange on the side. It doesn't have these hooks anymore. I never really use that, but I think with people who want to upgrade and expand their storage a little more, that would have been a good thing to have. And it also allows you to adjust the angle of the strap hook more readily. So on the new one, you only have 2 positions for the strap hook. Yeah, so this is still the same kind. It has this little anchor that just slides in and hooks into that loop strap. Straps are, I think, otherwise functionality-wise, they're the same. They still come apart at this point here. They have these pivots on the sides, which work quite well. So I know this shape of the pad that lies against your back looks weird at first, but it actually is quite comfortable. And then you still have this little hidden strap down here, which you can then connect to that little clip up here for your triangular chest strap. And that also works really well when you have a little more weight in this bag and you want to have that extra support of the chest strap. I usually don't use it on my daily use of this, but when I'm traveling and I have quite a bit of gear in here, especially with the laptop, then I tend to use this quite a bit. Which brings me to kind of the way that I'm using this. I usually have this as my secondary bag. I have either a roller bag or a backpack, and I'm still using the same Brevity jumper backpack that they gave me, what was it, like 3 years ago now? It's kind of a little discolored in some places. And I think the stitching on one of the dividers in here has come loose, but otherwise it's held up really well. And considering the amount that I'm using this, I think it's held up pretty well. So let me know if you want an updated real world review of this backpack, because I do quite enjoy it and I'm still grateful. They were my first kind of brand corporation where they gave me stuff. So I'm very grateful to them still, although we haven't been in touch for years at this point. And also, I do want to point out that I have absolutely no affiliation with Wandrd either. I do appreciate their gear, mostly because it's orange. But I bought these off of the Kickstarter when it launched. And I actually got the 9-liter version. This is the 6 as well, because of how space limited the original 6-liter was. I did feel like I wanted a little more space. And the 9-liter version actually ended up being too big for me. And I think it would have not fit under the airplane seat in front of me, which is how I usually use this. So all of this stuff that I want to have on me on a flight usually goes into this bag. And then I have a bigger bag that I put in the overhead and that I mostly don't touch during the flight. One more update that they added to this, which this older version of the Rogue sling didn't have, is these side pockets here. So you can hopefully see that they have this little elastic expandable pocket here on the side. And I was actually quite glad to see this until I actually tried it out, because these are small. So if you're on the go, you don't have your own water bottle and you want to just buy one and stick it in here, this is very tight fit. It's not very deep. It's not very wide. It tapers down to the bottom. So it's not really usable for this kind of application. So it really works only for smaller items like headphones. Those fit obviously no problem. But they only have that. But they only have that top elastic. So it's not a ton of security. And then the biggest upgrade, and this is generally an upgrade on this, are the zippers. So the zippers on the old one, especially when you had quite a bit of gear in them, they would catch and you would have to hold it at least one other point and pull it over to be able to close it. And in addition, it was a single zipper, so you only have one strap to close the zipper here, and you can see it's not really moving unless I grab the opposing corner, and then it'll close. This has been vastly improved with the new zippers on the V2. So first thing you will notice is that we have two handles on the zippers too. These also have this V shape that if you intertwine them, they give you a little bit of security. So it's not easy to open your bag really quickly if they're just interlocked like this. And this has actually happened to me when I was in Madrid. The only time that I've ever gotten close to being robbed, there was a guy walking behind me in a subway station. He was just walking. I was walking at a pretty good pace, pretty briskly. He was just matching me, and I noticed a tiny little tug on my bag on the original Rogue, and he had it open and was about to probably run off with my camera. So unfortunately, I caught him, and we got it done pretty quickly, and he didn't get anything out of my bag before I noticed. But yeah, that's definitely a sad possibility, and any extra step that you have in your gear to delay the time to it being opened, and give you a little more chance of actually noticing when people are fiddling with your gear is a plus. And these zippers, the actual zippers on them, first because they have two ends now, you can close them on either side, but also they go around the perimeter much smoother. And up till now, I have not noticed them snagging excessively at any point, like I did with the old one. I think that might also be because of the top flap being a little more sturdy and holding its shape better. As you can see here, this is a little depressed or curved inwards. And I think that deforms the zipper curve here and gives it a little more of a snag point at the corners of that pocket. So the radius is actually pretty similar. I think it might have a little more rectangular of a shape to the zippers, but it's probably a lot of these factors playing together to make this more easily accessible and a smoother to use zipper in general. So the zippers are a big upgrade, and in general, I feel like all the materials have been upgraded quite a bit, and I think it's going to hold up better over long periods of use. On the other side, the old one was a little more compact, so if you're looking for a more compact version, this might be the one to look into. It had that front pocket, which I quite appreciated. It had the more streamlined and easier to access pocket inside the main flap. And it had the other mechanism for the tripod or water bottle pocket on the bottom there that is more versatile, I think, but less sturdy. Either of those, I would find arguments for why this is better for certain use cases than the other one. Honestly, if they had kept the front pocket and maybe, I don't know, this is a point of contention, but maybe padded the inside flap of the top flap a little less, I think that would have made the V2 a clear winner for me. But as it is, I still miss a few points from the original when I'm using the V2. Still, I think one of the best looking bags on the market. Got awesome colorways. I really like the orange. I really like the yellow. And those are not regularly accessible colorways for most bags. It has pretty good water or rain protection as well. And overall padding, just general size and usability is quite good on these. So as I said, I'm not affiliated with Wandrd in any way. If they want to sponsor me, I'd be up for it. So hit me up. For me, it's quite a good size when I just have one or two cameras on me and some extra gear that I want to bring on a flight or just out and about when I have a little more space than fits in my small everyday bag. Don't want to bring the backpack or a big camera bag and want it to look good at the same time. Yeah, that's about all I can tell you about this. Have you played with these bags? Do you have a favorite bag brand or a recommendation for a bag that I would check out? Because as we all know, if you're into cameras, there's a good chance you're into camera bags as well. And there's never enough of them. Or so we tell ourselves. Anyway, appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. And I hope to see you again.